In this video, I am going to talk to you about the importance of the English language so we can look at its demography, internal and external aspects of the language, its nature of cosmopolitan vocabulary, inflectional simplicity, and the way gender works from the socio-linguistic point of view in the English language. We can look at the map here to see where English language is spoken. It's spoken all over the world, from Australia to Africa, South Africa, and all the way to America and Canada. As the number of speakers of this language are expanding, so its importance is as well. Today, English is the language of education, technology, international relations, business, media, and diplomacy around the world. So its importance is ever increasing. There are over 5,000 languages around the world. Almost all of them originated in a geographical location and expanded over time. Languages go through changes all the time. The same language over time will sound so different than the way it was when it came into being. Many languages die over time, and many new languages are born. This is a constantly happening phenomenon. Among these languages, only some have expanded widely across many countries. This happened especially during the colonial age, from the 16th century to the 20th century in Europe, when European civilization expanded around the world, especially Asia and Africa and the Americas. English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Italian are leading languages that expanded from Africa and Asia to North and South America. Another language that tops the list is Arabic. During the period of the spread of Islam, it colonized North Africa and planted its roots in many countries. French and English are both languages of wider communication, and yet the changing positions of the two languages in international affairs during the past century illustrate the extent to which the status of a language depends on extra-linguistic factors. The ascendancy of English as measured by numbers of speakers in various activities does not depend on nostalgic attitudes towards the originally English-speaking people or toward the language itself. The extent and the importance of the English language today make it reasonable to ask whether we cannot speculate as to the probable position it will occupy in the future. It's not possible to predict the future of nations because politics is ever changing. And the changes during the present century in the politics and populations of the developing countries have confounded predictions of 50 years ago. Because the growth in a language is primarily a matter of population, the most important question to ask is which populations of the world will increase and most rapidly. Obviously, the growth of population is determined by the difference between the birth rate and the death rate, and by international migration. And we know how migration changes the demography of nations. Things have changed drastically in India and China in recent times. These two countries are the most populous countries in the world, with humongous populations that migrate to the English speaking countries all the time. The rapidly rising economic growth, governance, effective management of health systems, and good lifestyle of people have changed the demography of most of these Asian countries, resulting in the population outburst that we can see today. English functions in most people's daily lives not only for education, employment, and business, but also as the most effective lingua franca. A country such as India cannot survive without English because of its cultural and linguistic diversity within its own geography. There are more than 750 native indigenous languages that are spoken in India, and the interesting thing is that most people cannot speak one another's language within their own country. Hindi, spoken by the majority of the population, is the national language, but most people cannot speak or understand it. According to a report, only 43% people can understand or speak it. Therefore, English serves as the lingua franca for the people. That is what makes English so very important in India. Another interesting thing about English is that the English that originated in England spread all over the world in countries or geographies such as Canada, the United States, Australia that are situated the farthest from England, across the oceans, in the east and west, north and south of the globe. English became famous among the people who spoke African and Asian languages that have nothing in common with English. They have totally different cultures, values, and linguistic roots. It's amazing to see how those people adopted English despite their dissimilarities. However, it could never take its roots in the neighboring countries in Europe. Even France, Spain, Germany, and Italy, that are just the next door neighbors, do not speak English, although the languages that are the most similar to English are French, German, Spanish, and Latin. And the reason is obvious. It is the politics of colonization, the domination of the colonial language over the native languages. During the colonial period, these European countries competed against each other in occupying the land, culture, and the people around the world, and their victims were Asia, Africa, America, and Australia. The British colonial power was the most dominant one that swallowed the people and their languages. We can see how Mexico, Central America, and South America were colonized by Spain, where the Spanish language replaced their native languages. Portuguese replaced the native languages of Brazil, and the English language replaced the native languages of the United States and Canada. Among European languages, it seems like that English, Spanish, and Portuguese benefit from various developments. The breakup of the Soviet Union is already resulting in a shifting status of Russian. The independent states of the former Soviet Union are unlikely to continue efforts to make Russian a common language throughout the vast region. The growth of Spanish as Portuguese will come mainly from the rapidly increasing population of Latin America, while the growth of English will be the most notable in its use throughout the world as a second language. It's also possible that Pidgin and Creole varieties of English will become increasingly widespread in areas where English is not a first language. During the colonial period, English had spread all around the world in its colonized countries such as India, South Africa, and Hong Kong. But now there was a fear that after the Second World War, as Britain would withdraw from those countries, English language might not be as popular and as dominant. Interestingly, this speculation proved to be wrong. Although British rule withdrew from South Asian and African colonies, the influence of the English language remained the same. English not only continued being used, but also expanded and prospered in those nations, from government, education, administration to business, media, and entertainment, English became the central and expanding power. In countries such as India, Nigeria, and South Africa, English occupied the position of the national language. It became the symbol of aristocracy, power, education, and civilization. While studying the history of the English language, we will see how languages acquire power, prestige, and fame, and how they become the instrument of governance. When Angles, Jutes, and Saxons invaded England in the 5th century, Celtic people had been living there in the island for thousands of years. They were farmers who had family and children and worked in the farm. So, because of lack of practice, they could not fight well, and they were easily defeated in the battle because all they knew about was agricultural tools and crops. They had cattle and sheep and plenty of food. On the other hand, the invaders were equipped with all kinds of deadly weapons and knew how to fight and kill. The invaders were not farmers, they were trained warriors. So they were able to subjugate or even enslave the native population. The interesting thing for us to understand is how the cultures of the invaders, let's call them here settlers, who were the winners of the war, dominated the cultures of the inhabitants, who were defeated in the war. Language and culture are closely integrated. So, along with the culture, the settlers also established their linguistic superiority. This automatically created a social hierarchy of languages. The English language was the language of the Saxons, Jutes, and Angles that subordinated the Celtic languages. The Celtic people, who were the native people of the land, were farmers and low level workers, whereas English speaking settlers were the courtiers, soldiers, administrators, and the royals. One would be deemed to belong to the aristocracy for speaking English. We will also study the external and internal aspects of English. The demographic and cultural setting that we have just surveyed will be expanded in subsequent chapters as the history of conquests, revolutions, religious movements, inventions, and artistic achievements unfold. So, throughout the chapters that follow, we will see that the spread of a language, whether reconstructed Indo European, Latin, French, or English, results from demographic, military, political, and economic forces rather than from any features intrinsic to the language. It is often noted that Latin, as the language of an empire, was not hindered in its spread by the grammatical declensions of 5 cases for its nouns or by the complex conjugations of its verbs. The subjunctive mood was irrelevant to the conquest of Gaul. In the 21st century, however, conquest and the reversal of conquest, as in the disintegration of the Soviet Union, will likely have only a marginal effect on the spread of languages. Even the economic supremacy of certain countries will cause their languages to spread in ways different from the colonization of the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries. Rather than becoming official or second languages in subjugated countries, languages that spread will increasingly be foreign languages. I believe it'll be worthwhile for us to understand the difference between English as a foreign language and English as a second language. When we say English as a second language, that means you may have a different language in your family, for example, Spanish or French or Hindi or any other language, and you speak English or you use English as a second language for education or workplace or business or whatsoever. Not necessarily in a family, but outside family. So you use English for other purposes than communication within a family. That would be English as a second language. And this is in the case of countries where the Great Britain colonized once, such as India, South Africa, and Nigeria, and so forth, where people may have their own family language, but they use English as a second language. And when we say English is a foreign language, that means English is not used either home, inside the family, or outside at work. In countries such as this, English is not the medium of education or government or media or whatsoever. They may have just the language that they have in their country. For example, in Japan, in China, in many European countries as well, English could be a foreign language because they do not use English in any way, except when they have to talk to foreigners or when they have to communicate with foreigners who speak English. English is a foreign language in countries such as North Korea or many Middle Eastern countries, Russia, and like I said already, Japan and China. There are also acronyms used for that. ESL is English as a second language, and EFL is English as a foreign language. Cosmopolitan vocabulary. One of the most obvious characteristics of present day English is the size and mixed character of its vocabulary. English is classified as a Germanic language. That is to say, it belongs to the group of languages to which German, Dutch, Flemish, Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian also belong. It shares with these languages similar grammatical structures and many common words. On the other hand, more than half of its vocabulary is derived from Latin. Some of these borrowings have been direct, a great many through French, some through the other Romance languages. As a result, English also shares a great number of words with those languages of Europe that are derived from Latin, notably French, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. All of this means that English presents a somewhat familiar appearance to anyone who speaks either a Germanic or a Romance language. There are parts of the language that one feels one does not have to learn, or learns with a little effort. To a lesser extent, the English vocabulary contains borrowings from many other languages. Instead of making new words chiefly by the combination of existing elements, as German does, English has shown a marked tendency to go outside of its own linguistic resources and borrow from other languages. So, in the course of centuries of this practice, English has built up an unusual capacity for assimilating outside elements. That's why there is no regular pattern in English vocabulary. And some of the vocabularies might sound quite un English because they are borrowings from languages that are so far from the actual English. During the colonial period, as Englishmen occupied land all around the world, they borrowed so many vocabularies from so many different languages that were very unknown to the European eye. And some of the languages are so far and so awkward in English.